coming through when the growth look good on you. Best believe they wanna screw now. I've been trying to climb, devil threw me in the dark. Baby, don't be insecure, you can still go make a mark like blow. Could never let them drain my soul now. Blow. Table turning like doorknobs, wow. Blow. I think I'm about to set sail. I'm a walking, living legend, walking with my chest out. Life keeps dealing me cards, I keep fitting in.
Yes, people. What is going on? It's GM back in the building. You know what time it is, people. You know what it is. Guys, please make sure we are on the road to 150 subscribers. So please make sure, if you haven't liked the videos, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please make sure that you are doing that ASAP. Obviously, I said, look, I didn't want to do any more videos on Liverpool at this current moment in time. I said until Liverpool go out and do something, quite spectacular, to be honest, in the transfer market, I didn't want to do any videos. Lo and behold, what happens? Liverpool go out and apparently we have signed none other than Dutch forward Cody Gakpo from PSV. Now, that looks like to be the new signing for Liverpool. As obviously reported by Fabrizio, Cody Gakpo has apparently agreed a 6-year deal with Liverpool, the same as Darwin Nunez signed last summer. All the clauses have been approved. So, yeah, as I said, it does look like Liverpool will be signing the Dutch forward, and it does look like we'll be getting another, and I do mean another, forward coming into the team. Now, obviously, Liverpool already have Luis Diaz, Diogo Jota, Darwin Nunez, Mohamed Salah, Roberto Firmino currently playing their trade with Oxlade-Chamberlain, Fabio Carvalho, also players who can play, in that kind of forward line. Maybe if you want to throw in Harvey Elliott as well, but we've already got players who can play in that forward line. So it's a weird transfer for me. I'm happier with this transfer than I was with the Darwin Nunez one, because of the type of player that he is. I feel like he's a bit more well-rounded than a Darwin Nunez. Not to say I think he's a world-class player or anything like that. I don't think we signed those kind of players, and that's fine. But I do think that he's a lot more well-rounded. He's probably a lot more suited to the game, our type of game, than a Darwin Nunez. I don't think that he's going to take too long to have to settle in, to be honest with you. I don't think he's one of those type of players. So I'm not. It's a tricky one. It's a tricky. Let me know in the comments and stuff, below. And guys, just let me know, like, in terms of your opinion, in regards to Gakpo. This isn't going to be a long video or anything like that. So, just let me know what you guys think in the comments below in regards to him. It's very weird. It's just a weird signing. I think that's probably the best way to describe it. I think with Liverpool fans, especially, I think we're clutching on straws. Like we are so in the mud that, like, any signing is a good signing. Obviously, just purely because of the, where we are currently in the league, and the types of performances that we're putting in and stuff like that. I know Liverpool got their win against Aston Villa last night, which has put us, I think, 4 or 5 points, behind fourth place, and all of that kind of jazz. But I just think we're so in the mud. Any player that kind of comes in is just automatically going to be looked at like, oh my goodness, this guy is amazing. He can do this, he can do that. And, we're going to have to gas ourselves up yet again. He's a player that you have to kind of gas yourself up to kind of like, if that makes sense. He isn't a player that straight off the rip, boom, you're going to say, yeah, he's the one. He's the guy that's, going to come into this team. He completely changes, what we're trying to do, and all of these kind of various, different things. He isn't that type of signing, which it depends on what you're looking for, really and truly. Again, not to discredit Cody Gakpo. He had a decent World Cup as well, for the Netherlands. Sure, he was the top goal scorer for them, throughout the World Cup. top scorer for PSV. So, he's a player who knows where the back of the net is. So it isn't really even about that. I think it's just because of where Liverpool are at in terms of we are crying out for new midfielders. We haven't got a right wing replacement. We're looking at other positions as well, just purely because of, certain players going out of form, certain players, potentially declining and things like that. We've added another attacker to the team before we've even added a midfielder. What does that then mean, for the midfield? Does it still mean that, this doesn't hamper our midfield kind of issues? Does it still mean that we will go out there and sign whoever the midfielder is? I have no idea, because I think the way that Liverpool do business is you just will never know in regards to who we're going to sign, how, what position are we actually looking for? Does Klopp even think we have a midfield issue? Like, I don't even know, sometimes, with Liverpool, and this kind of signing kind of reiterates that even more so, is that there are other positions clearly us as fans are looking at and have spoken about for the best part of, 3-4 years and things like that. But Klopp doesn't look at it that way. Klopp and Linders clearly don't really look at it in the same way. And, at the end of the day, they're the management team. So, for whatever they see on the training pitch, clearly they don't look at, certain things like how we're going to as fans. As fans, we think there's a midfield issue. But I'm starting to see already, a lot of you fans have already started to be swayed, because you've already started to think maybe there isn't a midfield issue. Maybe there's more of an issue elsewhere. But a month ago, there was a midfield issue. Forget the injuries that we've got to left wing. That's not really important. I think this is what I say about Liverpool fans. We're so stuck in the mud. We are so, far off what our actual goals and targets and achievements are, that we don't even know what we actually want anymore, because it's just skewed now. Everything is just skewed. We're sitting in 5th or 6th in the Premier. I don't even know anymore. Like, in the Premier League, we've been knocked out of the Carabao Cup. We're playing poorly this season overall. Players are getting injured left, right, and centre. Players are declining. Some players are, just not even, playing up to their full potential and stuff like that. Everything is just all over the gaff. And then we've got new players who have come into the team, haven't really hit the ground running, to be honest with you. There's so many different things that is going on that, of course, if players had come into like a perfect environment, then, things would be a lot different. If we were sitting first and second, or, in Arsenal, Manchester City's position right about now, then of course things would just look a lot different. And then I think a Cody Gakpo type of signing does look okay. Now, look, the January transfer window hasn't even opened yet. It hasn't opened and hasn't finished. So for all we know, Liverpool go out and sign 2 midfielders. If they go and do that, not a problem. Not a problem. I'm not opposed to this Gakpo signing. I can't be anyway, because he's coming regardless of whether I like it or not. But, I'm not opposed to it in terms of, like I say, I'm a lot more happy with this signing than I was a Darwin Nunez signing, because of the type of player that it is. And I think he's a better player. And as I stated before, more well-rounded and things like that, as we'll see here. Looking at like his stats and stuff like that. If we look here, look, you can see heat map already straight off the rip. You can see this guy is a left winger. He's a left winger. He's a left winger / striker. So he's another Darwin Nunez effectively. So, it's like, I know we have injuries, but players will eventually come back. So, honestly, it really does. I am genuinely lost for, like, it's like, I don't want to say lost for words, but I am lost for words at the same time. Good player, scored a bag full of goals in the Dutch league anyway. He's been scoring goals. Depending on where, everyone's different. Everyone's got different opinions on the Dutch league. I don't know where you as a viewer view the Dutch league in itself. There have been some good players who have come out of that league. There have been some players who have come to this league and performed well. One player, obviously, from PSV that I can remember was Ruud van Nistelrooy, I believe. I think it was. Joined Manchester United, one of the best strikers I've ever seen in this country. So, it's not like, Robin van Persie again. There's players who have come out of that league and have performed to a very, very good standard in the Premier League. So, I wouldn't sit here and say it's a league that I look down on, but it may be just not a league that I'm going to get too gassed on, so to speak. And for me, it's not really even the league, so to speak, because I look at the type of player that you're signing. Where does he, in other competitions? So if PSV were in the Champions League, I would be able to judge him a lot better, but I don't believe that they are. They are in the Europa League, played against Arsenal this season. So that's the kind of level that I'm looking at a Cody Gakpo, is that he is of that level at this current moment in time until he comes to a Liverpool and can perform, on a higher stage. But again, if we look back at, if you look here, obviously at his heat map, as I say, you can see, he's a player who prefers to play off the left. At the bare minimum, if you don't want to call him a left winger, he prefers to play off the left-hand side. Just like Darwin Nunez, just like Luis Diaz, just like Diogo Jota, they prefer to come in off that left-hand side. Does that then mean that he plays left wing and then we have Darwin Nunez play through the middle with Salah on the right? Or Darwin Nunez on the left with Cody Gakpo in the middle and obviously Salah, on the right-hand side? It's going to be very, very interesting. Very, very interesting. If we look here this season, this is obviously, so again, this is Sofa score, so just you take it with a pinch of salt, so to speak. But if we look at his ratings over the last 12 months, to be honest with you, he's been excellent. To be honest with you, his average is 7.68, and even if you look at certain months, that during that kind of June to kind of October kind of period, he looked like he really, really did excel, during those kind of months. So he's had a very, very good year, or shall we say 18 months. He's been on the radar of a lot of clubs. I personally thought that Manchester United were in for him. I know Chelsea had like a reported interest in him as well. I'm looking at him and I'm thinking, okay, he probably would suit those clubs. I think those clubs are more in dire need maybe of a player like that. So to speak, especially maybe a Manchester United in terms of getting a finisher. But, he's obviously come to Liverpool. He's coming to Liverpool now. I think we've just kind of pounced before everybody else. The fee, low risk, high reward. Even if he doesn't really work out, I think he's a player that you could sell and it won't really, it wouldn't kill you if you had to sell him. So I definitely think that this is a player that, we've probably thought about. I know that there's been reports, now this is just all reports, by the way, in regards to Pep Yinder's really pushing for a signing like this. Don't really know how I feel in regards to that. I think I don't mind your assistant manager giving you advice. Whether I like the fact that he is, pushing for players and certain things like that, I don't really know. I prefer if Jurgen Klopp was the guy who was pushing for certain players, to be honest with you. But at the same time, there's been a few players that Klopp has pushed for, and we all know how some of those have worked out. So it is a bit of a weird one. I think this is more of a Pep Yinder signing than a Klopp signing. So again, it does beg the question as to one, who's actually picking this team, who's actually signing these players. And again, where does this player actually play? Is this a player that you genuinely thought about in the long term? Are you signing, Roberto Firmino to a new deal moving forward? That's obviously a question that's been kind of put out there. I know a lot of the fan base would like to see Firmino stay at the club. I personally wouldn't. If I knew that Gakpo was going to be that replacement, I'll be extremely happy, because it would show that we are moving forward instead of being stuck in the past as per usual. So yeah, I mean, if again, hindsight is a wonderful thing, and we don't know what's going to happen, in the future. We have no idea as to how anything is going to pan out. Is Liverpool going to sign more midfielders? Is Liverpool, going to get rid of some of the dead weight that's at this football club at this current moment in time? If we do all of those things between now and say the end of the summer transfer window, Gakpo might just, that type of signing, we might be looking back on it and saying, wouldn't even mind him. Forget whether, even if everybody's fit and you guys that wouldn't have him in your starting 11, to have that kind of quality on the bench, I wouldn't mind that at all. I wouldn't mind that at all, considering that we're knocking about with Ben Doak and Oxlade-Chamberlain and Fabio Carvalho's and, your Elliots and, players of this kind of quality, considering that's the level that Liverpool are currently battling at. I'm not complaining. Cody Gakpo is definitely not a player that I'm going to complain about, in the long term, if I know that, if I could trust Liverpool Football Club in knowing the fact that they are going to rectify, other positions and stuff like that. I don't trust them at this current moment in time. Haven't trusted them for a very, very long time because of obviously previous transfer windows. The facts and the proof is there in the pudding. This isn't just me trying to be negative or anything like that. No, not at all. The facts are there. We've been asking, we've been dying for a midfielder, haven't received one in God knows how long. Thiago, I think, being one of the last ones, if not the last one. The team has just gotten older and older and older and just declined and declined and declined over the years. And we seem to be sorting out other areas before we actually sort out that main area. Now, I get it. There's this whole thing about, signing the right player and et cetera, et cetera. But, is that even a real thing? What happens if you can't get that right player? Where do you go from there if you can't get that right player? We need about 3 players, but I'm again, this is where I come into Liverpool and not trusting them. I'm worried that Liverpool are going to sign one player and think that it's all right for about 2-3 seasons, and then try and go in again and, get some more players, or pray that some of the young players that we've got currently just become good enough to be able to get into that squad. So I feel like the poor planning is, you can already kind of see it, to be honest, from Liverpool. And on top of that, Jurgen Klopp isn't going to be here forever, which also begs the question, again, moving into the future, which is a whole different topic, who's going to be the manager once this guy actually leaves. I've got my thoughts, but I think Hussam mentioned something, or someone mentioned something on Hussam's channel in regards to, I think it might have been Rax, in regards to Liverpool and the next manager. It's almost like I can see Pep Yinders is going to become that manager. Again, that's a completely different topic, and we'll get into something like that at a later date. But, I'm worried if that's the case, moving forward. There's so... Liverpool have knocked all the trust out of me. So when you're going out to sign players now, there is that level of trust isn't there anymore. This is just my own personal opinion again. And again, this isn't to knock a Cody Gakpo. I think just so that people understand, and all of the clowns out there, they always forever misconstruing everything I say. I like Cody Gakpo. I think he's a decent player. I think, for me, like I said, I'm happier with him than a Darwin Nunez, in terms of the type of player he is and this type of signing. But because I don't trust Liverpool at this current moment in time, I don't know what this signing even means for us moving forward. Does it deplete our transfer budget? Does it then mean that we can't go out and sign the players that we actually need? Because I don't think we actually needed a Cody Gakpo. I felt like you could have waited to get him, and if you didn't get him, it wouldn't have been such a big deal, because there's like a million Gakpos, personally, I think anyway, out there in the world of football. There are other areas in the team that I think are more pressing. Midfield obviously being the main one, right wing obviously being probably the second main one, and other areas in the team. But like I say, hindsight. If Liverpool go out there in this January transfer window and rectify some of the issues, no problem. Again, like I say, then we can build that trust back up. But Liverpool have completely lost that from me, from everything that they've exhibited over the last 18 months to 2 years. They've shown as a football club that, again, based on the model that they want to work with, and based on the model that they're trying to, or they were trying to move forward with, that they just can't be trusted. They just can't be trusted. They just can't be trusted in that regard. So Cody Gakpo to Liverpool, out of a 10, I would probably give this one a 6.5. Yeah, probably like a 6.5 out of 10, which is a decent score. It's just above average. Obviously, we have to wait to see what he does when he does eventually come to the football team. Will he be a good signing? Will he be, someone who's going to, inevitably hit the ground running? I think he can do. He's definitely a player that I'm more willing to back. Like I say, having watched him play and stuff like that, he does look like he's a player who's a lot more well-rounded and more suited to our game. So I'm definitely willing to, give this player some time, probably more time than I'm giving Darwin Nunez, to be honest with you. But that's just preference and things like that. But let's wait and see. Excuse me. Let's wait and see. Let's wait to see, how he performs, what position he actually plays. Will he have that much of an impact? Will this be the Luis Diaz type of signing that we had, last season, where for some reason Diaz came into the team and I don't know what happened. It just rejuvenated the whole team. It was like that electric spark that we kind of needed, to help us in our fake quadruple kind of quest that we had, last season. So, if we can have that same level of impact from Cody Gakpo, then, it could definitely boost our season and push us forward. But, I don't want to be negative, and I don't like sounding negative, but if you've supported Liverpool for as long as I have, if you know the club as well as I do, not to say I know all the ins and outs, because I don't, but if you know how the club is run, supporting this club for over 25 years, you will understand my skepticism in regards to some of the player recruitment that we've had over the last 18 months. You'll understand as to why signing players now isn't unless they're obviously going to be Kylian Mbappe, things like that. Why, signing certain players just for me is just one of those kind of things. But again, Cody Gakpo, I'm willing to give that time. I do like the guy. I think he's pretty decent. Got nothing against him personally, to be honest with you. It's just I'm more intrigued as to what are Liverpool doing long term, first and foremost. Once we get that kind of answer, then I think the picture will become a lot more clearer. Until then, at the moment, I will remain skeptical. And I think as fans, I think you should all be the exact same. I think, start opening your eyes a lot more. Stop being so blinded by your love for the football club. There's a bigger picture out there, and I believe that a lot of you are not really wise enough, or not allowing yourself to be even wise enough to just kind of see certain things that are actually going on at the football club. But like I say, Cody Gakpo in isolation, decent player. Don't know where he's going to play, to be honest with you. So that's going to be the interesting part. Don't know what position he takes up in the team. Don't know what that then means for the team moving forward. Will he even add to the team? No idea. But like I say, out of 10, I'll give him a 6.5. And yeah, it'll be interesting to see, what happens moving forward. But look, that's my kind of look at Cody Gakpo. I know a lot of you probably sitting there thinking, oh my goodness, yeah, we're going to talk about this, and we're going to, nah, you know me, man, I have to keep it real. I need to keep it honest. I owe the viewers that at the bare minimum. I owe people that, just to be myself. If you guys want to tune into, I don't know which channels, there's a lot of probably Liverpool content creators who are going to be talking about this Gakpo deal, and they're probably going to look at it a lot more from the positive side of things. I like to look at it from both sides, both angles, and then give you my own personal opinion. If you don't agree with my opinion, guys, that's absolutely fine. Please let me know in the comments exactly how you feel. I would love to have a conversation in terms of how you're looking at this signing. One, in isolation, but also just in as a general, in terms of Cody Gakpo type of player coming to Liverpool, and stuff like that. Make sure you guys catch me on Twitter. Make sure you catch me on Instagram, TikTok, mostly Twitter. G, keeping it G, as you guys can see below. I'm G, and guys, I'm out, man.